When I decided I wanted to make these types of videos for my YouTube channel, I only had one intro planned. Here I am working on my second and I've got nothing. I guess let's just get into our next game, another classic from my youth, Lost Magic. Do you all remember Space Invaders? I sure don't, but what I do remember is the Taito Corporation. Taito is famous for some of the earliest and biggest video games there's been. So how does this company end up creating a game full of such anime influence? Square Enix, of course. Holding a death grip on Geno was not enough to satisfy their lust for power, and in 2006 they decided to purchase Taito as a subsidiary. Taito also brought along their friends, Garakuda Studios, who worked with them before on games for the PlayStation 2. My research has taught me that Garakuda Studios is not Garuda Studios, as Google Translate tried to tell me. Initially, I was confused that the company that made this would have made this. But in reality, the company that made this is no longer with us.
Except, it's a terrible day for rain.
What do you mean? It's not raining.
Yes, it is.
The last company that played a part in Lost Magic was its publisher. Ubisoft, famous for this coupon that came with my microphone, is a very well-known name in the community, for better or worse. At the time of writing this, I started playing one of their most recent games, Watch Dogs Legions. No spoilers for the video ahead, but I'm having a much better time with it than I did with Lost Magic. The story begins with a big-haired mystery woman, the Diva of Twilight as we later learn, aims to become the new creator of the world, as she hates humans. This is until the Bishop of the White Knight comes to stop her. His effort is in vain, however, as she wins pretty easily as she has 4 big wands and he only has 1. As he gets wombo-comboed, the Bishop uses the last of his power to bestow his wand to his son, Isaac. Isaac must then fight the sages throughout the world to break them from the evil spells of the Diva of Twilight, and get them to help him save the world. Nothing special, but the main selling point of the game was not the story, but the unique gameplay elements. The game is a real-time strategy, both movement and combat are on the bottom screen. An early DS game obviously would use the gimmicks available on the bottom screen for such important parts of gameplay, but unlike many early DS titles, this one does it pretty well, for the most part. The drawing is fun, you even do more damage based on the quality of the drawing, but movement could use some small tweaks. Having to reselect Isaac or other units, but we'll get to that, every time you want to change the location makes it a little clunky to move. As for combat, the only fighting Isaac does is through runes. These are symbols you draw on the bottom screen that have some magical result in the battlefield, whether it's offensive with fireballs or defensive with something like healing spells. This aspect is fun on its own, but it's really fleshed out by the concept of duo runes. These are exactly as the name would imply, combinations of runes that create different results based on the runes and the order they're used in. This is my favorite aspect of the game as it incentivizes exploration, but it's exploration you can do while getting immediate gratification. This contrasts the gratification of finding things in the battlefield, as walking to them and back takes what feels like forever. The other units that I touched on before are monsters that you can capture and send into battle as your own little army. They are a little easier to control as you can just send them onto an enemy and do your own thing in the meantime. This is not a luxury that you have with Isaac, however, as you frequently need to retreat for mana and to optimize attacking location for spells. A wide array of monster types and items for them to exploit makes for an interesting gameplay aspect that, on paper, never stops giving. In execution, however, it stops giving pretty early on, if you aren't only really in it for the completionist aspect. In short, if gameplay wasn't its own section of this video, I could say it probably fit itself pretty snugly in the cons section, as much as I hate to say that. So what does this game do particularly well? First of all, the art is spectacular, which is no surprise considering the art director being none other than Yoshiharu Sato. To many, this name might not immediately spark interest, but that might change when looking at its filmography. Sato held major roles in the animation department of movies such as My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, and of course, the Tigger movie. The art is by far the best part of this game, as the gameplay does leave a fun-shaped hole in my heart. Also, the game saves really fast, which is pretty impressive for an early DS game. So where could this game stand to improve? My favorite feature from Monster Tale Returns, unskippable dialogue. While it's a lot faster to click through it in Lost Magic, there's also significantly more. Next is difficulty, and let me tell you, I started off bad. After like the third mission, I started losing multiple times in the missions coming after. A lot of the deaths are frustrating, especially considering the generally slow-paced nature of the game both inside and outside of combat. That being said, there's a lot of reward to figuring out a puzzling fight, even if it takes a few tries. Sometimes though, even a lot of reward is not worth the frustration. I usually don't want to deduct points from a game because I have a hard time, especially as this is not a genre I play too much in my free time, but in this situation, it's certainly a con. I'm writing this as I play, and you know what? I'm not particularly interested in finishing this game, so... Welcome to the future, the wonderful year of 2021. I tried to finish it, I really did, but we're here to have fun, and what I was enduring was not that. I might have tried harder if the sections in between attempts of the mundane levels were any faster than the levels themselves. Instead, I have much better things to do, like clean my room or post on TikTok. Check me out at HaydenIRL on TikTok. I hate to end a video so abruptly, but also, I can't find all too much more to say. I believe that the last section has wrapped up my thoughts about this game in a pretty little bow. The potential this game had was only second in quality to its art direction. All the while, execution finds itself a bit down the road, longing on what could have been. There is hope for the Lost Magic franchise, however, as there is a Japan-exclusive spiritual successor called Tact of Magic that took similar gameplay and brought it onto the Wii. Maybe one day in the future, after cleansing my palate, I'll take a look. Until that day comes, please feel free to share your opinion in the comments, like the video if that's something you did, and subscribe. It's free, so you will always get your money's worth.